Vandaag gaan we praten over entheogene drugs. Dat zijn niet het soort drugs als cocaïne of heroïne die een bepaald gevoel geven van rust of van opwinding. Nee, dat zijn drugs die in contact brengen met het hele diepe zelf, met het goddelijke in jezelf. Entheogens. Theos is het Griekse woord voor God. En dat zijn dus stoffen die je als het ware een unitive, het eenheidsgevoel geven. Dat er geen onderscheid is tussen jezelf en de wereld. Dat is een begrip wat we kennen uit de historie van de mystici. Johannes van het Kruis, Meister Eckhart, al dat soort mensen hebben daarover geschreven. Er zijn heel veel gedichten, heel veel dingen die verwijzen naar die eenheid, die unitieve ervaring. De laatste 50 jaar eigenlijk pas is voor ons in het Westen duidelijk geworden dat die entheogene stoffen in heel veel culturen gebruikt worden. In de vorm van paddenstoelen, in de vorm van ayahuasca, in de vorm van iboga. In Nederland is een stof als ecstasy en misschien een beetje paddenstoelen zijn stoffen die u misschien kent. Drugs zou je ze kunnen noemen, maar het zijn eigenlijk dus gewoon hallucinerende of entheogene stoffen die je een beetje van die ervaring kunnen geven. Ecstasy, als je dat in een hele rustige setting gebruikt, kan je brengen bij die ervaring van het diepe zelf en daarmee van de eenheid tussen jezelf en het goddelijke. We gaan praten over een stof die niet zo vreselijk bekend is en die heet ibogaine, met Dan Lieberman. Hij is een etnobotanist en hij komt uit Zuid-Afrika en hij heeft bij de stammen in Afrika die dit soort middelen gebruiken zijn ervaring opgedaan en daar gefotografeerd en over geschreven. Hij is wetenschapper. Welcome Dan. To start with, you are from South Africa.
Yeah, I am.
Now, in South Africa, are there indigenous tribes and people, and I'm not talking about Congo, but South Africa, that use entheogen drugs?
Not as such, but there is a history of khoisan, that's the Bushman use of entheogens. However, that knowledge has sadly been lost. There is research going on into that, though.
So in the past, when the Bushmen were the only people living there, because now what I understand is many black people in South Africa that don't originally come from South Africa.
Yeah, the Bantu tribes migrated from the north, south, and they also have a legacy of plant use, but it's either secret or it's been lost, you know.
So it might be that there still is a tradition that we just don't know of.
We know of a number of psychoactive, very powerfully psychoactive plants that are not in regular use, but whether they are, but it's not being told, or whether the knowledge has been forgotten is unknown as yet. Yeah.
Yeah, because we in the West only started realizing that there is something like psychoactive plants in the 50s. Well, a little bit before the war, they found out about mushrooms in Mexico, and then after the war, with work by Hoffman and the magic mushrooms in Mexico, and that was, I think, 56. It happened. How is it possible that this understanding of psychoactive, entheogen, whatever strange substances was hidden for so long? They kept it a secret, the people that knew?
Yeah, well, in the example of Tabernacle Iboga and the Bwiti, it is a secret society, but it's only secret. It's not secret because they don't tell you about it. It's only secret because the knowledge is sacred, and therefore it's something you have to be initiated into. It's a knowledge that you need to experience, and that's what makes it secret. It's not patently obvious. You cannot buy it. You cannot be given it. You cannot read up on it.
One of the most well-known examples of the use of psychoactive substance or whatever in history is the Eleusinian mysteries that were held in Greece, seemingly for a period about 800 years, and where many people, I mean, we're not talking about tens, but seemingly whole generations of leaders have taken part in some kind of what we have to assume sacred and secret ritual, and learn something from it. Do you think that what they learned is the same knowledge as what you learned from the Bwiti?
It's all the essential cosmic truth, absolutely. And sitting down and meditating will bring you to that same knowledge, that same understanding.
And that is what, say, the Tibetans do.
Yes, absolutely. Buddhism is founded on that understanding, and so are many of the ancient cultures. In fact, all religion is founded on that understanding of unity.
Now, a die-hard, hardwired chemist would say, oh, well, this is this and this and this chemical connection in your brain. That what you call God is just a chemical reaction. I mean, stories like the brain is just a meat computer, and this is an aberration that happens given the conditions. There's something spinning in your mind, and the fact that people experience this as God is an illusion.
That is a difficult point. It's fine for people to understand, as long as they're understanding what it is and not just talking about it. You know, as long as the understanding is there, that's what counts. It doesn't matter how you would like to explain it, if you understand.
But would you say that this hardline technocratic approach to religion would vanish if those people would actually experience the iboga or the ayahuasca in enough depth?
What it does, iboga, for example, it stills the intellect. It allows your mind just to stop moving for a while, and it gives you an understanding. What we in the West try and do is just to try and intellectualize every single experience, which is something impossible to do. So the answer to that question is yes, probably. You know, it would allow a person to a hardline biochemical thinker to understand what he's trying to describe more than describe what he's trying to understand.
So what you say is these things are beyond words, they're beyond science, they're just there. Yeah, and yet I think you like my little poem. Wisdom is not knowing but feeling the truth. And for those who honor the truth, it means living it. I'm only different as I have not yet learned to be the same.
Yeah, those are very wise words. And the Bwiti consider you, until you have taken iboga, to be someone to have great compassion for, because you have not yet understood one has not yet understood the truth. And once you have been initiated, you have understood the truth. But they also acknowledge
that truth that says I have not yet learned to be the same, which means the basic message of Jesus is, treat the other like yourself, because there is no difference. Heaven is now if we only allow it in, or in other words, the kingdom of heaven is with the children, because they're not yet spoiled. They still live in this beauty of no separation, because that's the story. Now, that experience of no separation, why do we have to go to the Bwiti or the Peruvian shaman or the ayahuasca tribes and or eat peyote? Why have we lost in the West that capability to go to church and experience that?
Again, it comes back to intellectualization, trying to rationalize and intellectualize an experience that needs to be experienced. I don't say people need to do anything to go there, but just have compassion. Just have compassion for other people, and that would bring you to that same understanding. Meditation, yoga, tai chi, if practiced mindfully, will bring you to that same understanding. No need to go to the jungle. To the jungle. But you went to the jungle as a photographer, as a scientist from a university in South Africa. Which university are you? It's a small university called Rhodes. From Cecil Rhodes? Yeah. The guy who founded Rhodesia, one of the early, oppressors, some people would say. Yeah, I have to admit a bit of ignorance about South African history, but yeah, probably. Well, Rhodesia was called after him, was named after him. Say, iboga. Now, iboga is a plant that you find, and what was the official name? The name is Tabernath iboga. Tabernath iboga. Well, it has, by the looks of it, is red and yellow fruits. That would mean in the experience of most jungle people that it's a dangerous plant.
strong colors usually mean that, like, I don't know, snakes that are very colorful usually are also very poisonous.
Yeah, it works. It works both ways because fruit are also colorful as well, and some things would be poisonous, others aren't. They actually eat the fruit of iboga. It's very good tasting, of the Tabernanthe iboga.
But it's not the fruit that contains the magic potion.
No, the alkaloid is contained in the root bark. It's probably a defense mechanism for the plant. It's all contained in the bark, which is 0.5 millimeter thick, or up to 2 millimeters thick around the root.
What do? You gnaw it, or?
A 2-year-old plant would probably supply enough iboga for one person's initiation. What they do is they disinter it, they pull it out the ground and scrape the bark off it. And the bark is then chopped up, and then you are fed that, which is a very difficult process because it tastes very bitter.
Does it taste similar to, say, ayahuasca, which also is a bitter brew?
Yeah, it's difficult, as difficult to put into your system as ayahuasca, yes.
Now, you have taken this with a Bwiti guide, because in what I read from you, you say going through this process of, well, taking an entheogen drug of this intensity, it's best to have a teacher. Have you had a Bwiti? Do I pronounce it rightly? That's the tribe of the jungle pygmies?
No, actually, Bwiti is a word that defines anyone who's been initiated into the understanding that iboga gives you, and it spans many tribes and it spans many countries in the Central African Basin, yes, how they operate it is you have temples, and the plant is held in great esteem. It is a very sacred plant, and temples are built around initiating people and death rites and so on. So when I went for my initiation, you have a Bwiti mother and you have a Bwiti father, and they are symbolic of your rebirth into a new awareness.
So there's a whole ritual, and what you say, it gives you the understanding, and if you just say it, of no separation. That's the ultimate union experience, that there is no separation between you and what you experience and what's around you. So the people who have that, you gain some natural compassion, because if you understand that the other is like you, it's very hard to fight or to kill them or do them harm.
Yeah, absolutely. The Bwiti are the most peaceful people I've come across. They are just absolutely gentle because of that very understanding of, as they put it, too soon, everything is one. We're all the same. Yeah.
We're all the same. Well, I shared it as a show my poem. Now, one of the very interesting qualities of iboga or ibogaine, which is then the plant extract, is that it might be used to help people with addiction to heroin or cocaine or some severe addiction to get over that. How does that work?
Okay, the mechanism of your the treatment goes through a number of phases. Okay, and those phases actually allow, first of all, a breakdown of this material reality, so that we understand a much greater reality than this reality we perceive around us, and that also allows us. It does this by actually stilling the entire metabolic system, so that you enter into a state that a yogi might achieve after 20 years of meditation. And you only enter into that state for a couple of days. But it's a powerful enough understanding of the universal reality, the cosmic reality, to actually allow you to drop your addiction. How it does that on a physiological level is that your body mechanisms, your metabolic mechanisms are stilled to such an extent that there is no pain of withdrawal, because you have no desires, Because
that's what happened. If you are heroin addiction, you have a physical pain, you need the stuff again, and that's why you go out and get it. And you say that pain is suppressed, and therefore you have an opportunity to regain your balance and your metabolism, and get rid of the addiction.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I don't know how to get over it, but I see these movies when people are off it, then you see them through great pains and have to be kept warm, and it's a whole process of days and days when they suffer enormously, and that's the reason that they go back and take the stuff again or inject it, and so you say you can come over this process. Do you understand? Well, what I understand is that, among others, Professor Bastiaanse, the psychiatrist who worked with LSD with war trauma patients, has used it, but there have been some accidents. Is there a clash between ibogaine and, say, heroin? Because that's what I understood, that if people, while on ibogaine, do take heroin, that then you get casualties.
Yeah, I've heard the same thing as you. I don't know too much about that, but I would, from my experience of this, very much believe that if you took something else at the same time, it could be very dangerous, because this is a pretty powerful substance in its own right, and it does take you very much to the edge. Were you to take something else at the same time, it might push you over. However, in a Bwiti, this is why the ritual setting is so important. There is a diet for weeks beforehand. You are not you won't take any food that or substance that is not conducive to a powerful experience. The problem is when this now comes into the West and people start experimenting.
Yeah, then you might have a problem, because there's certain build-up of a chemical build-up in your body that doesn't go well with this iboga. When you say they have a whole ritual, does that take a few weeks before, but afterwards, how long does it take? How long are you under the influence of the iboga?
It lasts a long time. The initiation will take from 3 to 7 days, just depending on the individual and depending on where you have it. And it's a very powerful experience in that your entire body, as I said, shuts down, and for that entire period of your body shutting down, it's as if your body has gone to sleep, but your mind is very, very wide awake. And for that phase, you are incredibly vulnerable, because your body is asleep and you actually have no motor coordination. And the ceremony and the ritual is all around protecting you when you're in that phase, very much like a mother protecting her newborn infant. And it is during that phase that most of the healing work gets done. You have an ability to go back into earlier phases of your life and relive and sort out traumas, early life traumas.
This psychological use then of untangling, of finding out about your personality, that is different from what you described as the unitive experience. This is more sounds like a psychological application that a doctor in the West would use.
Yeah, there are different phases to the experience. You move through various phases and you untangle various things through various phases. There are 3 distinct phases to the initiation, which is one, when as they understand it, you die. As I understand it, you die, and then you are dead, and then you are reborn. Okay, and in each of those distinct phases, you go through very specific understandings, and you can sort out things.
You experience it yourself, but you have also experienced ayahuasca and other substances. Did it change you?
Yeah.
And not only in this understanding of the unity, but in your daily relationships with people.
Look, I've come to this understanding through meditation. So I won't say the plant changed me. I'd say the meditation changed me more than anything. The reason why I work with the plants is because I like to know how each individual plant can teach people that same understanding. So I won't say personally it changed me, but for someone who has never meditated or has never come close to that understanding, it will change them fundamentally and forever.
Is it a quicker road than meditating for 5 years and sitting on your butt and doing Zen meditation?
No, of course you have to do the hard work. I mean, this is as one of my Tibetan friends said, shortcut, So it's.
The Tibetan and Indian wise guys say, no, you need to do it yourself and you have to come to this understanding. Yet also for me and many people that I've met, like, many teachers, they say, yes, but it was LSD or ayahuasca or whatever that gave me this first look over the mountain and then set me on the path of doing it myself.
Absolutely, that is the secret. It is all about opening a door. Once that door has been opened, you never need to go back to the plants, because you can get there through meditation, and you know it. Yeah, just maintaining the awareness.
One of the things you say is that you need a good teacher, that if you do this on your own or with someone who on a commercial basis said, hey, I got some nice stuff for you, it doesn't work. Why do you need a teacher and what does he do for you? Or a guide?
The importance is for me, is that the person that you are going through the experience with, first of all, has a profound understanding of where you're going, and second of all, that his motivation is pure in running you through this, in going through with that, and that is what it comes down to. For me, I had been through many experiences with many guides, and it was only until I met one guide who really knew what they were doing that I started understanding what it was all about, you know.
So you had the experience before, but you couldn't place it, whatever. I can't really understand it, because this entheogen, this stuff, brings you to a point where you do experience the world as one. How can you not understand that?
If we're talking about other plants, then there's and if we're talking about iboga is, in its way, is very powerful in that it takes you directly there, without any necessary guidance. You just need protection by these people.
Because if you're lying down and you can't move, and the police comes and say, hey, what's happening to this guy, they take you to the hospital and they might do all kind of horrible things to you that are not good.
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah, and however, my experience of other plants is that, for example, mushrooms mushrooms teaches you the same lesson through humor. However, you can get lost in the humor and laugh and laugh and laugh until until you get lost in that and you don't move through to understand what the mushrooms really.
The laughing face. There's also a strong hallucinative effect of mushrooms and some other entheogens. Is that strong with ibogaine too, or iboga? Do you get many visions?
Visions are a very powerful aspect of this. Personally, for me, I had very few visions, but other people have visions that last for days and days, which are very powerful and life-changing.
Do you have auditive hallucinations? That means that you hear voices?
Yeah, there's an absolute mixing of your senses, and you have auditory hallucinations, smell. Hallucinations is not really a good word to describe this. These are just, your awareness is so super sensitized that you are just experiencing things that you do not normally experience. They're just beyond your normal state of awareness.
Would you say this iboga or ibogaine is a dangerous thing that should be forbidden in the West? See, what happened with mushroom is that the mushrooms came from us from Mexico as a sacred and secret tradition, and came to the West and people started using them. But now it's like you take podos, as they're called in Amsterdam. If you go to a party, it becomes a party drug, a recreational drug. This whole idea of finding God or yourself is lost. That makes, let's say, the original idea of a ritual and so on ridiculous. It doesn't work anymore.
Yeah, no, I'd in the cultural setting, it is definitely a powerful event that needs guidance. We in the West tend to abuse things. Unfortunately, I don't really have any opinion on whether it should be controlled or not, because
Do you think scientifically it's an interesting subject that you should really look at?
What I do feel is that this is one plant that has the ability to force scientists to look at the spiritual side of things, because the essence of the entire iboga trip is a spiritual experience. And all these heroin addicts who are dropping their addiction, and other addicts, are all describing a fundamental spiritual experience. And until scientists understand that is the basis of what this plant gives.
But that's the basis of being, understanding who we are and whatever. And that aberrations like addiction to whatever, heroin, television, Coca-Cola, whatever, to name my personal addiction, these are all aberrations from the balanced life.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you were talking about these heroin addicts that got off it. Have you met those people? Have you seen that work? Can you say yes, that's a way to use ibogaine?
Yeah, at home, I've been treating heroin addicts with this, and it's very successful. The hard part comes in for those people is when they re-enter their
society, when they re-enter the social cycles where the heroin is available and the cocaine is a party drug and stuff like that. So that's a social addiction that gets them.
Yeah, absolutely. What it's saying is that we need to change our lifestyles.
Well, that's a good teacher plan, as Terence McKenna would say. Just to give it, Dan Lieberman has a site where you can find him, and we'll put that on the screen. Thank you for explaining a little bit about ibogaine en iboga. We hebben gesproken met Dan Lieberman, iemand die dus werk doet met een vreemde stof, een hallucinerende entheogen. Die heet iboga. Hij heeft dat gedaan bij de pygmeeën in Congo en heeft daar ervaringen opgedaan in een rituele setting waarvan hij zegt het leven van mensen veranderen. En hij werkt zelf in Zuid-Afrika dus met heroïneverslaafden die met deze stof eigenlijk een periode kunnen beleven waar ze geen last hebben van die onthoudingsverschijnselen, zoals we die noemen, die pijn omdat je de heroïne weer wil hebben. En daardoor af kunnen komen van hun verslaving. Nou, dat is heel belangrijk werk. In Nederland heeft Bastiaanse daar een tijdje mee geëxperimenteerd, maar is daarmee gestopt. Maar dat zou dus een oplossing kunnen zijn voor het probleem van verslaafden. Dankjewel, Dan.
Thank you very much, Luc.